Hey guys, it's Chloe, and today I am here with a brand new video. So today I am here with my August wrap-up, and I actually had a really good reading month. Surprisingly, for traveling at the very end of the month, it turned out pretty well. So before I get started with this video, I do want to mention that I am going to be attending Indie Book Fest in Orlando, Florida at the end of this month, from September 28th to October 1st. I am going to be speaking at the event, but I am not sure which panels / workshop I'm going to be speaking on, but I will be in attendance. If you happen to be at Indie Book Fest this year and you see me, please say hi. I was in attendance last year. Last year was my first time attending, and I'm really excited to be returning this year. So as far as my August stats are concerned, I read a total of 11 books. Out of those 11, 1 counted for the A to Z book challenge, and 3 counted for the Pop Sugar challenge. Out of those 11, 6 of them were audiobooks, 2 of them were ebooks, and 3 of them were physical copies. And just some miscellaneous things for the month. I did read a surprising amount of fantasy sci-fi this month, like a surprising amount for me. And I also completed in one readathon, and that was the 7 and 7 readathon. I kind of like half participated in that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. The first book I completed in August was Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Dark Artifices trilogy, and holy crap, this book. Everybody's been saying, like on Twitter especially, people have just been like, oh my god, I just finished Lord of Shadows, and like ... and I'm just like, what's gonna happen at the end of this book? Is it gonna kill me? And it killed me. The third book doesn't come out until 2019, and this book left us on a cliffhanger. So, Cassie Clare, what am I supposed to do? Like, yeah, I can read your other book that's coming out next year, but 2019. I have to wait until 2019 to finish this trilogy? Despite the cliffhanger, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars. It did not count for a letter for the ATC challenge, and it did not count for the Pop Sugar challenge. But guys, if you want to be left on a cliffhanger, then go ahead and read this book now. The next book I completed was Bad Romance by Heather Demetrios, and this was the Once Upon a Read Along Book of the Month for July, and we did do a live show on it, so I'm not going to talk too much about this book, but I will leave the link to the live show in the description below in case you're interested in hearing about my thoughts on this book. So I did not know too much about this book before going into it. All I knew was it was about a girl who has a bad home life, which that is true, and she's also in a bad romance, hence the title. I ended up giving this book 3.5 stars. Did not count for a letter for the HC challenge, and it did not count for the Pop Sugar challenge. The next book I completed in August, and this was also the book that I unwrapped to read in August, and that was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, a original screenplay by J.K. Rowling, and this is essentially the script to the movie Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Ended up finishing this book in a day. I'm surprised. It came out nearly a year ago, and I just now read it in August, and normally I'm like on top of that ish with reading new releases in the Harry Potter world, but not this time. It is exactly the script to the movie, because the very next day when I was sick, I watched the movie, and it was the exact same thing. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It did not count for the A to Z challenge, and it did not count for the Pop Sugar challenge. The next book I completed was A Risk Worth Taking by Heather Hildebrand. I sent an ebook copy in exchange for an honest review, and that review is already up, so I'm not going to talk too much about this book since I did that full video review. That'll be linked down below if you're interested in hearing about that. This is a new adult contemporary, and I am living for the contemporary, and I am totally starting to get into the whole new adult thing. I really enjoyed this book. Again, if you want to hear more of my thoughts, link to the review is in the description below. It is spoiler free, so you can totally go watch that. I gave it 4.5 stars. It did not count for a letter for the HC challenge, and it did not count for the Pop Sugar challenge. The next book I read was Hollow City by Ransom Riggs, and this is the second book in the Miss Peregrine's series. I did listen to the audiobook for this, and I read this in August in anticipation for series September, where I'm going to be finishing this trilogy. Finally, it has been so long. Honestly, I have to say I enjoyed the first book the most so far, and like so many people love this trilogy, and I really wanted to love this book, but I was just like, the first one is my favorite. I gave this book a 2.5 stars. It did not count for a letter for the HC challenge, and for the Pop Sugar challenge, it counted as a book about an immigrant or refugee, and that is because in this book, without giving out spoilers, there are refugees. The next book I completed, I was really excited for, and unfortunately, I'm not that excited about it anymore, and that is Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth. Another book I really wanted to enjoy, and it kind of just fell flat and ended up being okay for me. When the ARCs were sent out and the reviews were going up, there was a lot of controversy about people of color being represented as savages in this book. I listened to the audiobook, and I think I may have missed it where they were mentioned as people of color, so I didn't see that. And of course that's completely my own fault if that actually is mentioned. But altogether, this book just fell flat for me, and I really, really wanted to enjoy it. I probably will continue on with the series, but overall this was just okay. I gave this book 2.5 stars. It did not count for the A to Z challenge, and it did not count for the Pop Sugar challenge. The next book that I completed, which is one of my absolute favorite reads of this month, possibly even this year, and that was Tash Hart's Tolstoy by Catherine Ormsby. This was such a good contemporary read. It was so fantastic and so amazing. I originally read it thinking that it may be part of a retelling, and because I'm judging the Young Adult BookTube Awards in the retelling category, I figured I would read it. Honestly, the only retelling part about it is our main character, Tash, or Tosh, excuse me. I keep forgetting that her name is Tosh, but I keep saying Tash. Anyway, Tosh is the director of a web series that is a retelling of Anna Karenina, our modern day retelling of Anna Karenina. And I love Anna Karenina so much. And that was the only kind of retelling part of it. Other than that, it is a contemporary, and it was so good, and it has LGBT plus rep in it, and it's just absolutely fantastic. I loved this book so much. Obviously, because I'm raving so much about it, I gave it 5 stars. If you haven't read this book, honestly, go pick it up. It is so, so good. I absolutely loved this book. It did not count for the ATC Book Challenge, but for the Pop Sugar Challenge, it counted as a book with career advice in it, because there is some career advice given to our main character in it. The next book I read was Hunted by Megan Spooner. Again, another retelling that I was reading in anticipation for the Young Adult BookTube Awards. I did listen to the audiobook for this one. Overall, while I enjoyed it, it was just okay for me. While I did enjoy this read, it overall was just okay for me. This is the first Megan Spooner book that I've read. I have not read her collaboration with Amy Kaufman yet. I gave this book 3 stars. It did not count for a letter for the A to Z challenge, and it did not count for the Pop Sugar challenge. The next book I read, another really good read for this month, and another book for review, was The Chameleon Soulmate by Evelyn Letterman. I received an ebook copy of this book in exchange for an honest review. So again, because I do have a review coming out next Saturday, I believe, about this book, I'm not going to talk too much about it. This is a new adult fantasy sci-fi book that I really ended up enjoying. I loved it so much. And this is an indie book, and I met the author at Space Coast Book Lovers, and I believe I'll be seeing her at Indie Book Fest as well. This is a book all about telepathic people, and our main character discovers she's one of these people. And I will discuss more of my thoughts in the review. The review is spoiler free, so when it goes up, I will link it in the description below, and you can go check out that video. Overall, I give it 4 stars. It did not count for a letter for the A to Z challenge, and it did not count for the Pop Sugar challenge, but it is so good, so you guys should go read it. The next book I completed was King's Cage by Victoria Aveyard. Another read that was just okay for me. I don't know why all these books are kind of just okay this year in general. I've read a lot of just okay reads this year. This is the 3rd book in the Red Queen series, and honestly, at this point, I'm just sticking around in this series because there's only 1 book left. So right now, I'm all caught up in the series. The last book is supposed to come out next year in 2018. So at this point, yeah, I'm just sticking around to see how the series ends. And the thing about this series is I really, really loved the first book, and now the 2nd and 3rd book have just been okay reads for me. Like, I totally understand why this series is a hit or miss series, because some people love it and some people hate it, and here I am in the middle where I loved the first book and don't like the 2nd and 3rd book. Overall, I gave this a 2 stars. It did count for a letter for the A to Z challenge. It counted for the letter K, and for the Pop Sugar challenge, didn't count for anything. And finally, the last book I read in August, and that is Lucky in Love by Casey West, one of my favorite contemporary authors. I love everything contemporary that she puts out. Honestly, I want your guys' opinion on her other series, or her only series. Was it Pivot Point and Split Second? If you guys have read that, please in the comments below tell me what you think about it. I've only read her contemporary works. I love all of her contemporary works, so I'm not sure how I would feel about Pivot Point and Split Second, but please let me know in the comments below if it's something you think I would like, since I love her contemporary work. I gave this book 5 stars. It is very similar to Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith, but at the same time, they're different. They're unique in their own special ways, but they do have similar plot points about a character who wins the lottery. It did not count for a letter for the A to Z challenge, and it did not count for the Pop Sugar challenge. So guys, those are all 11 books that I read in the month of August. I think I'm doing a pretty good job. And so far in September, I actually have a TBR that I put up for September, surprisingly, and y'all know me, I don't do TBRs at all. But so far I'm doing pretty good on my TBR, and I'll give myself 2 thumbs up for that. So guys, that is all I have for this video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like a behind the scenes look at my life, you can check out my second channel, Chloe Essence. And if you'd like to see here, please go ahead and click subscribe. I post new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Click subscribe so you can be updated for when I post those. And as this video is going up, and actually as I'm filming it a couple days ahead, there's a hurricane heading my way, Hurricane Irma. But just so you guys know, posting will still be the same. I will be posting Wednesday and Saturday on this channel, and every Friday on my vlog channel. So nothing's changing right now. So guys, that is all I have for this video today, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!